we can begin by talking about the book Influence, which resulted from my 2.5-year program of research into the training programs of all of the different influence professions to see what they do to get us to say yes. I was surprised by one thing that I encountered in all of these programs. There were only 6 universal principles. Now there were hundreds, maybe thousands of individual tactics, but only 6 universal principles of influence that seemed to capture the great majority of what all of these individuals were doing. Reciprocity, the desire of all of us to give back to someone who has given to us. So if an individual gives us something, a free sample, for example, we feel obligated to at least listen to what they have to say. At the supermarket, for example, that little lady with the cubes of cheese and meat, after you've eaten one of those, it's very hard to just give her back the toothpick. Right? You feel like you're obligated to buy. Reciprocity is one. Another is scarcity, the desire to have those things you can have less of. So things that are scarce, rare, dwindling in availability. So one of the things that many organizations will do is to inform us of how rare, how uncommon their features are. Another principle is commitment and consistency, the desire to be consistent with what we've already said or done, to be congruent with our internal values and what we've said that we're going to do. So for example, one study showed that if you call people on the phone, registered voters, and ask them if they will vote in the upcoming election, they of course say yes. And they now vote significantly more often than if they didn't receive that phone call, getting them to commit to that sort of thing. Another principle is consensus, or what we call social proof, the idea that people want to follow the lead of similar others, people just like them. We've done a study, for example, in hotels. I don't know how much you travel, but when I do, in 70% of the hotels where I stay, there's a little laminated card asking me to reuse my towels and linen. Right? We put different kinds of cards in rooms to see what we could say on the card that would most increase the likelihood that people would say yes. What hotels typically say is, do this for the environment, do this for future generations, or cooperate with us toward this common cause. We added a different sign based on the principle of consensus, that people want to do what everybody else is doing. It said the majority of guests who stay at our hotel do recycle their towels at least once. That was absolutely true, and it increased compliance by 28%. The interesting thing is that was a completely costless message, and it's never, ever been used in any hotel in any city that I visited. And the reason is those managers don't know what the research says. One of the hopes in these books that I've been publishing on the influence process is to allow people outside of the academic community, the non-researchers, who in any meaningful way have paid for this research with their tax dollars, to learn what we found out about them with their money. They're entitled to know what we found out about them with their money. And so that's one of the purposes of the book, to be sure that we present this information to the wider public besides just the academic community in which the work was done.